Hello! In this design course, we want to touch on several problems in creating case studies for the portfolio. It is a well-known fact that designers and design studios put off this task until later. And when the right moment comes, new cases are prepared in a hurry. Another problem is related to the format. How should I arrange the case design in the portfolio so that it looks presentable? Many designers use the Behance platform to present their work, but not everyone can arrange it beautifully, and this greatly affects sales. Companies try to present all their work on the site, and it is desirable to develop a single template for all cases to be drawn up. This masterclass is aimed on showing you our approach to case design. When working on a large project, you need to sketch out the structure before designing. Let's say the project included branding, a mobile app, and a landing page. I start with creating wireframes that are needed to determine the order of presenting information and the order of blocks. First comes the introductory part. Therefore, I place the name of the project and the hero image at the top. These elements will be the face of our case study. After that, it will be good to write a few explanatory lines about the project and the task you faced. Next up is the branding block. In fact, the work in our studio began precisely from this stage. It can be dedicated to what was done and what you used in your work. It is a known fact that designers don't like to write text, and sometimes it is difficult to come up with even one sentence. But it helps you to give an overview of what you really did all this work for. Now I'm sketching blocks in a preview without getting into details. I'll come back to this later. Showing video materials among static images can really brighten up the case. Hence, why I'm using a large block containing a video presentation. I will use the same approach to design all other sections of the case. It is important to add a link to the real product at the bottom if there's any. This is an important element of proof for a potential new client. Additionally, you can add a customer review. This is even more credible. The structure is ready now, so I move on to preparing the necessary bits and bobs. When designing the case, I use materials from a real project we worked on. As you can see, there are a lot of materials, and my task is to come up with various combinations of design to make this case look spectacular. You can write text yourself, but either way, I would advise to show them to a copywriter. In this case, I am using a previously prepared text. I am outlining the grid. It is better to use non-standard text as headings. There was a time when we named our projects like UX, UI design of mobile app, or project redesigning. Such titles are very boring and don't reflect the point of the project at all. For the cover, I used one of the large illustrations with an overlaid smartphone mockup. This emphasizes that the main product is a mobile application. In presenting a project, not only are the images in your design very important, but also your thoughts. A potential client or employer looks at how you solve the tasks, find solutions, and what you have learned. As part of this project, we made various animations. Plus, we filmed a video review of how the application works in reality. If your project has no animations, then take the time and make some fake animations. Like I said before, this makes the whole case study very lively. I will now add a preview and a note for the developer that there will be a video in full HD format. In the branding section, I will add a short headline. Our team was rebranding the existing logo, and I would like to combine several creatives into one. There is a fairly popular technique for this, when various materials are layered out in the preview at an angle. As a result, it looks like a really large piece of work has been done. Plus, this visualization itself adds dynamics. Now I want to show the rebranding in more detail. As for the structure of the preview display, I decided to focus on the staggered arrangement of the pictures. First, it will be convenient for responsiveness, since the case is being prepared for the website. And secondly, I can use either square pictures or elongated ones. In this section, I show everything related to the style of the resulting brand: corporate elements, mockups, illustrations, and typography. I make small text inserts between the pictures, but the emphasis is still on the visual part. The text dilutes the strip of pictures and adds visual pauses between them. Looks better now. That's all for the branding. Let's move on to the next section. Now I want to show fragments of work on a mobile application. This stage is absolutely distinctive from branding, so it would be better to add a separating title and additional text about what exactly you did on this part of work. First comes the title picture. Then we need to select several screens to be displayed similarly to what we did at the beginning. There are a lot of screens in the layout, and it is hard to define which particular ones to show. Therefore, we split the screens into separate cases, and it's easier to navigate that way. In fact, you can pull the screen out of each case and they will all be unique. That's exactly what I did to get this selection. I choose the screens that I will use for the composition and transfer them separately. Before starting to assemble, I recommend rasterizing the artboards, otherwise unwanted deformations may appear when resizing. There is a plugin that allows you to rasterize the artboard in maximum quality. It is called Flatten Selection to Bitmap. Figma allows you to apply the last used plugin with the Command-Option-P keyboard shortcut. Elements from the UI design can be added to the background. The case is dedicated to the sleepiest mobile app, so I will add a few stars to the background. Before starting to show the details, I make another text insert. In fact, there won't be much text for the whole case study, but even this amount of text is sometimes difficult to write. Therefore, practice and learn to write correctly. As for the margins between the blocks, I arranged an indent of 240 pixels between the semantic blocks and 400 pixels between the main sections when extra space is required. This consistency gives order and neatness throughout the entire layout. As you may have noticed, I hardly ever use realistic device mockups. Some time ago, it was very trendy to shove an application screen into a realistic iPhone. But in a case study, it will look very heavy, because above all, the task is not to show the 3D device renders, but the work done on the project. But if you want to brighten up your presentation and add device mockups, then I recommend using simplified versions of devices without details that take away too much attention. By the way, such a mockup can be done even by yourself. I have selected a minimalistic mockup that will perfectly fit into the current design. Again, I arrange the blocks in a checkerboard pattern. Another important point when designing a case study is the use of matching colors. No need to try to select a unique color for each background. It is very excessive and it seems that the elements are ripped out of different projects. Several design elements have been animated specifically for developers. In this regard, my task is simplified and I will use ready-made animations in some blocks. But at the same time, for the sake of the presentation, you can take time and animate some transitions between screens. As you can see, I am trying to select the color of the backgrounds so that it is combined with the previews above. I don't use the drop shadow effect in Figma. Instead, I use blur and adjust it as a shadow. As practice shows, creating a shadow in this way makes it more accurate and controlled. This is not a requirement, but simply our approach. I add an illustration to one of the blocks to dilute the appearance of this section. Sometimes you can just show the icons separately. These are all UI elements showing that you can make both illustrations and iconography within the same project. And here I also dilute the blocks with pictures and text. The final section of the case study is a landing page demo. The site consists of 2 core pages and the rest are technical screens. I'll take the home page and the statistics page. We can't rasterize large layouts using our plugin, so we export using the old method. The next problem is that Figma spoils the quality of all imported images larger than 4,000 pixels. For this case, I use plugin Insert Big Image. It allows loading long reads and large images. As a result, we get high quality layouts in PNG divided into parts but in one group. The section about the website is done. To sum up the case, as I mentioned earlier, it would be better to add a link to the completed project and feedback from the client. The case study has been completed, and now this template can be used for other projects. Plus, in the same form, you can arrange it on Behance, or if you have your own website, then make it responsive and send it to development. I can say right away that when you show this kind of presentation in your portfolio, it is a huge bonus. Any employer will appreciate such dedication. And even if your relationship with the client wasn't long, the presentation you show can always be more impressive than it was at the time. No one will condemn you as some kind of fraud, because on the contrary, you show your capabilities that you couldn't apply to that project at the time. And these skills will come in handy in future projects.